Well, look, I think let's just look at 2020. Indonesian GDP growth was down 2.1%. So there's no question there was an impact. But I would say that that impact was less than that in peer countries. The average GDP contraction in Southeast Asia was 4%. Some countries were double that. So the first thing I think to say is that Indonesia has taken the shock well.
Yeah.
Now, the next thing is, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
And certainly would be happy to talk to you about that as well.
No, even though we are slightly better than our peers, somehow ADB's also revised down its economic outlook for Indonesia, which is cut from 5.3% down to 4.5% in 2021. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right. Look, I think 2020 was a tough year for forecasters, and that reduction in GDP growth expectations was really a function more of our views on the pandemic. When we did the original estimate, we still thought a V-shaped recovery was possible. But as the health and the epidemiological data globally continued to come in, it became clear to us that that wasn't going to happen. And so the reduction in our outlook for Indonesia's economic growth that you referenced was really a reflection of our views about the world and about COVID-19 pandemic. It was not a reflection of our views about Indonesia specifically.
We have a lot of positive, even super positive narratives, Ahmed, earlier, closing 2020. The vaccination, the vaccine is already there, just around the corner for the vaccination to start. Then here it comes. All of a sudden, we have new variant of this COVID-19. Real lockdown already been enacted also by several countries in the European Union. What does it mean to ADB? Does it mean that we have to postpone our expectation that 2022, at least, we can start seeing the better light there?
Yeah, I think, look, our work at ADB is to support the poorest, the most vulnerable, both through general economic growth, but also through specific support for the poorest. And I think what's most disturbing and worrisome about the emergence of these new variants is that, like this entire crisis, they are likely to affect the poorest the most, both the poorest countries and the poorest people within those countries. And the reason is very simple. Some countries, particularly wealthy countries, are well along the path towards herd immunity from vaccines. In the United States, it's a matter of months. But in poorer countries, there's an enormous issue getting access to vaccine supply. Right. And so while we don't know the impact of vaccines on variants on vaccines, they're likely to have some impact. And the biggest impact and the biggest thing I'm worried about from variants is that it's going to mean that there's going to be half the world which is growing and half the world which is in lockdowns and stuck. And the half that's in lockdowns and stuck is the part of the world that needs the growth the most. So this is the most worrying thing for me about these variants is the differentiated impact they may have on the haves and the have-nots.